For more than a century, people have imagined tiny green creatures living on Mars. But where did this strange idea come from? And did anyone ever truly believe they existed? Tonight, we trace the journey of a myth, from ancient skywatchers, to a mistranslated word, to the pulp magazines and radio broadcasts that gave it a face. This is the story of how a distant red light became one of the most enduring legends in human history. Chapter 1. Mars before modern science. Long before telescopes, Mars stood out in the night sky for one simple reason. It moved. While most stars held their positions, this one wandered across the heavens, and it burned an unmistakable shade of red. Egyptian astronomers called it the Red One. Babylonian scribes carefully tracked its motion across clay tablets, associating it with a god of war and plague. The Greeks and Romans went even further, naming the planet after their own god of war, a name it still carries today. For thousands of years, Mars was less a place than a symbol. Distant, blood, unsettling. No one had ever seen its surface. Yet its reputation as something mysterious and ominous was already centuries old before science finally caught up. Chapter 2. The Canal Mystery. Everything changed in 1877. Italian astronomer Giovanni Schiaparelli pointed his telescope toward Mars during one of its closest approaches to Earth. He carefully mapped long, straight markings across the planet's surface. He called them canali, an Italian word that simply means channels. But when translated into English, canali became canals. Unlike natural channels, canals are built. That single mistranslation suggested something Schiaparelli had never claimed. Engineering. American astronomer Percival Lowell embraced the idea. From his observatory in Arizona, he sketched hundreds of these supposed canals and proposed a dramatic theory: a dying Martian civilization, desperately carrying water from the polar ice caps across the planet to survive. Newspapers loved the story. The public was captivated. There was just one problem: the canals weren't real. They were an optical illusion, created as the human eye struggled to interpret blurry telescope images. But by then, the dream of an intelligent civilization on Mars had already captured the world's imagination. Chapter 3. Birth of the Little Green Men. Fiction took over where science left off. In 1897, H.G. Wells published The War of the Worlds. His terrifying Martian invasion forever linked Mars with alien life. Then, in 1938, Orson Welles adapted the story into a radio broadcast. Some listeners believed the invasion was actually happening. The event became legendary, even though later reports showed the panic had been greatly exaggerated. Meanwhile, science fiction pulp magazines of the 1920s, 1930s, and 1940s needed eye-catching aliens for their colorful covers. Green suggested something unnatural. Making the creatures small made them seem strange, rather than simply monstrous. Slowly, across hundreds of magazine illustrations, the image of the little green Martian was born. Comic books, low-budget science fiction films, and cartoons carried the idea into popular culture. Perhaps the most famous example was Marvin the Martian, introduced in 1948. He transformed the once terrifying invader into one of animation's most recognizable characters. It's important to remember, none of this came from scientific observation. No telescope ever saw a green Martian. The little green man was created entirely by human imagination. During an era when many people still believed Mars might actually be inhabited. Chapter 4. What Science Says Today. The space age finally put the myth to the test. NASA's Mariner and Viking missions of the 1960s and 1970s photographed Mars in remarkable detail. The images revealed a cold, dry, crater-covered world, no canals, no cities, no ancient civilization. But scientists discovered something almost as fascinating: evidence that billions of years ago, Mars once had flowing rivers, standing lakes, and a much thicker atmosphere. Today, NASA's Perseverance rover continues exploring Jezero Crater, an ancient river delta that may once have supported microbial life. The rover has detected organic molecules inside Martian rocks. These are the chemical building blocks of life, but they are not proof that life ever existed. Organic molecules can also form through natural geological processes. Today, scientists are searching for something much smaller than Lowell's imagined civilization: tiny fossilized microbes, or other microscopic signs that simple life may once have existed in Mars's ancient lakes. perhaps, if it still survives, hidden deep beneath the planet's surface. To this day, no evidence of intelligent life, past or present, has ever been found on Mars. The little green men of Mars were born from imagination, not discovery. Yet the myth continues to inspire scientists, writers, filmmakers, and dreamers around the world. Mars may not be home to tiny green civilizations, but it still holds one of humanity's greatest unanswered questions. Did life ever exist there at all? Only future discoveries will tell. Like and subscribe for more.